I got it figured out. It was figured out as of last year. And then all of a sudden yesterday it started overheating. And now I'm recording this, so now YouTube for 7 seconds can hear how my camera woes. Terribly sorry, YouTube. You have to hear this now. So yeah, I got it figured out, and then all over the summer, I brought it to the beach with Emily, and I don't know if I got it, and it's a GoPro. It's like, take my camera and dive it off a cliff. Don't use it in class. I look it up in a classroom and record for 2 straight hours because it might overheat. It's almost like it has to be flying through the air at 200 miles an hour, like an air-cooled engine or something.
Well, it doesn't.
Again, like I'm recording this.
Then you should stay home for 2 hours straight.
Well, but you can't. I mean, why accept a 32 gig card? What's the point otherwise? I totally get what you're saying. That's what I thought too. Maybe it's supposed to design to like get in the curl for at Mavericks for 13 seconds so your board gets snapped in half. But like, maybe that's it. On and off, not just constantly on. Well, I think I got it figured out. I think if I don't use the little screen, the overheating stays to a minimum. If we hear it go beep 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 beep, and I'm not over there pushing it, then it shut itself off, and I'm going to have to go beg for funds from the school and buy a camera. So, and then I can finally tell my wife I can bring her camera home. Broken. So I'm really happy about that. So, anyway, I'm going to record. I'm also, this term, I'll talk more about that in a minute when it's more applicable. So anyway, welcome to 244. Here we are. Inferential stat versus, remember what 243 was called? Started with a D. Ended with ascriptive. That's right. Descriptive stat. That was 243. There's a bunch of data, crunch them through some kind of a process, and get a number out, whether it's an average, a proportion, a standard deviation, a probability, a median, whatever it was. This is inferential, and the key of inferential is inference. We're trying to make some kind of an inference about a population based off a sample. And we'll do a little of that today. We'll have some fun with that today, with our little population I brought with me. But first things first, before we get into that kind of stuff, I want to just make sure that we can find our way around the website. And like I said, if you've had me before in class, you can kind of take a nap for a little while. The site is cocc.edu/srule, and I just want to kind of walk you guys, if you've never had it before, I'm going to walk you through that. Because this is, everything is online. And those of you that have had me before, please feel free to chime in and let people know if I'm saying something or if I'm not emphasizing something enough, or if you think that something more could be said, just chime in. Get us logged in here. I don't use Blackboard. I got 1 or 2 emails overnight from someone. I'm not sure if it was somebody in here or one of other classes. I don't use Blackboard. I don't believe in keeping stuff locked behind passwords educationally. I mean, something should be locked behind passwords like that, like a bank account. But as far as like educational resources, I like having these out in the open for people to have and be able to get to. And I love it because every once in a while I'll get an email from somebody in Germany or France or Australia thanking me for the paper I put together. It's totally awesome. They wouldn't have found that without, having stuff out and open like this. Yeah, I can't change the picture. It's 10 years ago. A lot more gray, a lot more hair, and a lot more gray hair now, but I just love that one. Let's try kill one light and see if that looks better. Yay? Yeah. Oh, that's much better, yeah. Okay, good. So, this is the main page. You got your information up top. We did move offices over the summer. We went up to Grandview now, so we're closer to this building, I think, than we were, but we're further away from everything else. So it's more of a walk if you have to get up there. I'm up to 226 on the 2nd floor. It is pretty nice up there. I mean, it's definitely a nice view, but it's also a lung burner to get up there to see me. So I got the office hours down there at the bottom. They suck on Tuesday and Thursday, and I apologize. Tuesdays and Thursdays are just murderous between classes, a class I'm taking, and also picking my son up from kindergarten to get to swimming lessons. So Tuesdays and Thursdays just are tough. I can't have office hours on that. I mean, I have to squeeze them in like 3-minute blocks as I'm walking from class to class. So if you don't mind walking from this class to my next class, that's good. I'll try to get here a little bit early each day to set the camera up and everything, so I'll be around a couple minutes early. But as far as before class, I can't really put anything on the books because of just my scheduling. And I apologize, it blows. Tuesdays and Thursdays have just turned into that for me. Fridays are meeting days and open source days. I'll explain more about that as we get through the day-to-day. So email me if you can't get to my office hours, and I fully expect you not to be able to just because of your guys. Do you guys put the majority of your classes on Tuesday and Thursday, or do you try to?
Yep.
Because of work, I'm assuming. Yeah, then I apologize for the office hours not being on those days. But you can always email, you can always call, and again, former students chime in for this. It's amazing what you can get done emailing back and forth. It's not a traditional math class as you guys were from 243. I mean, you probably did more math in 95 than you did in 243. At least in my class you did. Yeah, a lot more math than and because it's less mathy and more kind of righty and critical thinky and logic-y, making up words, 8:30 in the morning, you can communicate very well, emailing back and forth. Speaking of email, make sure you check yours. I think you guys are probably pretty good at doing this. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I'm still on the email train as far as anything else, and it's the easiest way for me to get stuff to you guys. So I'll send out mass emails to the classes if I need to get something across to you. You can redirect your email. They just changed your guys' email over the past year, yeah? Yeah, I don't really fully understand.
I wish they would just keep it one way. It keeps going back and forth.
I don't know if either it's a great point, and I wish I knew why. I think part of it is that Microsoft keeps changing things, but ours is still the way it was. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're going to eventually transfer us over too.
That's weird.
But if you want, I bring this up because if you want to redirect your student email account, I tried doing a search on the COCC website for forwarded email, and I couldn't find any hits. You do it from actually within the email now. Has anybody done that yet in the new 365? Yeah, it's actually within the email, and it's through like a settings page. I had a high schooler teach me that in the software orientation. Like, I'm going to teach you how to be successful in college. So I'm going to show you how to forward email. How do you forward email? Poor kids. Like, great, don't take that guy from math. So yes, it's within the settings. You kind of wander yourself through the settings, and you'll find it quicker than the old guy will. So office hours, office, phone number, email, fax. Don't fax things. I think that's the old fax number, and I'm fax challenged, so don't fax anything. Just take a picture of your phone and email it to me that way. That works infinitely better these days, anyway. Okay, so down here, here's all your course info, and you guys can ignore all this and go straight to there. We are in MODOC 102. So I'll click through here. So those of you that are new, this is to get you to the syllabus page, if you will. And then you want to click on course information. And former students, if I'm saying something wrong, or if I can say something better, chime in, please. Chime in and let me know what's up. Here we are. Prop Stat 2, hence the yellow and red comment from before. I try to use a lot of yellows and reds on this. Number one, because I code like in 1996, because that's when I learned how to code, and because I'm a stubborn old man, I won't learn anything new, which is why all my websites look like they were made in 1996. That's okay. It's almost 20 years ago. It's kind of hard to process. Sweet Jesus. That Bobcat orientation was a wake-up call. Pulling the kids in. Like, you can't log into your computer. What's your birthday? 1993. I'm like, no. What's your birthday? Age what? Like 93. I'm like, no. When were you born? 93. Totally awesome. Half my life ago. So anyway, here we are. Former students. Most important page up here. Former students. Schedule. Definitely. Schedule page is the most. I put it at the top because it's the one you're going to be going to. Everything on the right is just a little bit texty. It's get your Adobe Reader here, and here's my email link and things like that. But everything, I want to go through all those links today, but the most important one, the one you'll use over and over again in this course, is definitely the first one, the schedule page. And it definitely looks daunting at first. There's a lot of information here. It's the entire course actually laid out for you in one big vomit-inducing patch of red and yellow. I've got it linked up by weeks up top there, but as you scroll down, I'll do it kind of quickly. Here's the whole term, all the way down to week 11. Boom, right there. So let me scroll back up to the top. Sorry if that made you seasick. We'll go to week 1 here. So it looks terrible, and I would welcome suggestions if anybody can think of a way to present this better. I have messed with it in the past, and my students have asked me to send it back the way it was. So I'm tempted to leave it until somebody sends me another idea. If you have a better idea of how to present it. I need all my classes on one page like this. So if you can think of a better way. I tried a calendar view, but it's just too much stuff. Like the days end up being this big, and you're scrolling side by side and up to down, and that just drives people nuts. So any ideas are welcome. Email them to me. I'd love to hear them. Anyway, the way it works, you got yellow is the week. You have the header up top. I put administrative stuff underneath each week if there is any. So you got the tutoring schedule up there. Where's tutoring?
Library.
Good. Library garden level, as they call it. Lower garden level. You level without windows. That's what if you need help in this class, who do you go to? The math tutor, right? Who do you go to? Math tutors or stat tutors? Find yourself if you need a tutor, try not to ask them, and there's a difference. Usually the stat tutors will be perfectly happy helping anybody with anything, but they want stat questions. The math tutors generally, from what I understand, don't like answering stat questions. I've actually been threatened by a couple of the older ones that have since graduated. Stop sending your students to me. Okay, I will stop sending my students to you. So just so you know, they're listed differently here. You go to the library tutoring schedule. Okay, you go to Bend or Bend. The problem is there's no stat tutoring except in Bend. It's still niche enough that it's only exists in Bend. And then if you go down here, here's all the subjects. And just so you know, for all your classes, you've got tutoring available in just about every, just about every topic you could possibly want. So you got math here, and you got stat down here, and they've also broken down the stat between 243 and 244. So that's very nice. I think the times are pretty congruent. Monday, 8 to 9, 8 to 2. Looks like 244 is a morning kind of class. That's actually, that would work out kind of well. Leave here, if you have questions, you can go straight down there. I mean, I don't know, do you guys have classes after this one? You had 10? Yeah, probably. Now I say that out loud, I realize you probably work your schedule to do that, wouldn't you? But anyway, you've got some hours. You've got some 244 hours. The easiest thing to do if you've got a question is try to track me down. Because I know exactly where we are, exactly what we're talking about, and exactly how I am. But if you can't, you've got plenty of 244 help available in the library. So just so you know. Cool? You've also got all your other subjects, and some of them aren't in the library. Just realize most of your science ones are going to be in the science building. You've got GIS over there in the Ponderosa Annex. So and sometimes they've moved some of the library stuff up to the upper level, I think. Tutor Annex, first floor. So lots of tutoring subjects. Not a whole lot of hours for every single one of them, but Kelly is doing a fantastic job down there of keeping track of tutoring, keeping it under control. Let me check real quick while we're talking about this. Nah, they haven't got matters in there yet. Cool with tutoring? Yes. What's the easiest thing to do?
Contact you.
The easiest thing is just if you can track me down. And I'll get back to you. If you email me, I'm back in touch with you within a day. 99.99% of the time. Unless something comes up, like Eric breathing on me, you'd be sick. Regardless. How many times have I touched my nose since he shook my hand?
Takes for you.
Damn it. Okay.
Get hand sanitizer.
That's great. Sometimes they're in the rooms. They're just not outside washing hands real quick. I'll just not done. I'm not Italian, stay like this for a while. So then we're into the schedule page itself. Now all my classes are here. My 105, my 243s, boop, 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 and then this is you guys over here. This is your column. So that's where all your information is going to be. All your documents are going to be. All your quizzes are going to be. All your projects are going to be. Your out-of-class exams are all going to be linked off of that page. Okay. Yesterday was Monday. You guys didn't have class. That's why it says off. Today's Tuesday. That's what we're going to be doing today. Okay. We're going to be doing all this stuff. All right. Tomorrow's Wednesday. You're off. Thursday we got a quiz due. Those of you that had me last term, it's the same quiz you took last time you took my class. If you still have it, you can resubmit it. Next Tuesday. Notice it's blank. Following Thursday, it says quiz due, not linked though, not linked. Following Tuesday, blank. Following Thursday, there's a project due. Interesting. It's like a lot of stuff due, but there's also a lot of blank dates. Why is that? Why is that? And former students can chime in for this because you know the answer to this. At least you should know the answer to this. We're just not doing anything next Tuesday? Stay home? Tell me your name. Lindsay, thank you. Which lecture? Just out of curiosity. Which one? Which one? Which topic? This is great. Shrug your shoulders. Because I don't know exactly either. That's the thing. I know what this course, thank you, is perfect. The fact that you shrug your shoulders exactly explains why that's blank. Here is what is in the course. Okay, you see this homework sheet up here? We're going to come back to this momentarily. There. There are the topics in the course. There are the topics in 244. Central limit theorem was actually in 243, so check that off already. You got that taken care of. You've got estimating a proportion, estimating a mean, testing a proportion, testing a mean, testing more than one proportion, more than one mean. If we have time, which we sometimes do, we'll get into independence testing. Okay? That's the course. But I can't sit here right now and say we're going to do that second line on Thursday. Then we're going to do the next line next Tuesday, and then maybe that takes us into the following Thursday, and then the third line next Friday. I can't do that for 10 weeks. You ever had one of those where you hang your syllabus on the first day of class, all the dates are in there, right? What happens inevitably? One of a couple different things. What's one thing that possibly happens in that situation? They all get switched around because something takes longer than it should. Or worse, what? Or snow, weather kicks in. That sometimes happens around here, if you know where it's been. There's snow right now. Or what else, which is even worse? Exactly. You become a slave to that schedule, and you say, well, you know what? You guys have lots of questions. You don't understand what's going on. We're going to move on anyway because that's what Tuesday says we have to do. That drives me insane. I'd rather take 3 days to get through hypothesis testing, which is that fourth little line down, which usually takes about 3 days to kind of fully understand. I'd rather take 3 days than shove it in 2. Does that make sense? So, as Lindsay pointed out, the reason that these cells are blank, like this blank will be filled. As soon as we get done in class, well, I'll go to my next class, 2:43. But then as soon as I sit down for 10 minutes, I'll update the schedule page with what we did that day. Probably later on in the day, so when you go home at night, you can look at it and see what we did. And I'll also, as quick as I can, upload the videos for the day, so you have those as well. So everything's kind of like captured as a moment in time. That day, Thursday, where there's a quiz due, we'll do something on Thursday as well. I've already got a pretty good idea of what we're going to at least start doing on Thursday. And that'll be linked up there too, on Thursday. But I hate putting it up there until I know we've done it, because then I have to adjust everything if I don't. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. So, there's lots of red cells as you go down through your class. That's when stuff is due. And we'll talk about all that stuff soon enough. We'll talk about all that stuff, the quizzes, the projects, and the exams. But as far as like what we do in class on a daily basis, you'll see all that stuff linked as we go. Does that make sense? Ask me questions if you have them, please. What questions do you have right now? Other than why is he talking so loud at 8:40? Please.
On your book, it said not required.
That's right.
Suggested. Or
Went to the store, tried to buy a textbook. SOB rule doesn't have a textbook for sale in the bookstore. I have grown tired of textbook manufacturers making you buy a new book every 2 years without actually changing any content in it. So let's back out to one more page. This materials page right here. Let's just get into this. There is a textbook for the course. It is free. It's called an open source textbook. I mentioned open source earlier. I can mention it again now. The prerequisites for the course, you all took 243, so we're happy about that. The textbook, there is a textbook, but it's not in the bookstore. You can purchase a copy if you want to. I put you a link right here. If you want to purchase it, here's an ISBN if you want to try to find it online. It's an open, how many of you guys have heard of open source texts? A couple of you? Who wants to give me a nice synopsis of what an open source text is? And don't worry if it sounds kind of socialist, it is, as far as education goes. It's all right. What is open source? What does it mean? Why is it called open source? Love it. Anybody can use it free of charge. Tell me your name. Danielle, thank you. Perfect. Anybody can use it free of charge. Okay, most times free of charge. If you're going to buy a physical copy, you have to pay for the printing. But it's offered as a PDF. If you click on that collaborative statistics link, it opens up as a PDF document. There it comes, much faster than yesterday. Here it is, the whole shebang. I think it's like 700 pages long or something. I recommend, it's not that big. I'd save it to your computer. Just keep it on your computer. That way you can access it without having to download it off the network each time. I think it's like 3 megs or something as far as the size goes. These two ladies down in California have put it together. I'm slowly adding to the book as well, and I'm going to add YouTube videos to be paired off with certain parts of the book. So that's my contribution to it, is I'm going to start adding in other multimedia and other kind of topics that go with the text as well. But this is great for you guys because you get a quality textbook. I think Donna was using this in the summer, yes? Who had that
I think
in the
so. I think it was.
You think it was this
Yeah.
one? It was this? In the spring. Oh, she didn't use it in the summer?
No, I think she used it.
She used it in the summer. Okay.
I don't remember who the.
I remember she said she would use it in the spring. I'm glad she did. I didn't think I could win her over. But she read it. She's like, oh my God, they're giving this away for free. And I'm like, yes, not everybody in the textbook market is a complete scumbag that's trying to drain our students every penny that they have. Not to be too harsh about it. I'm just so sick of watching you guys spend hundreds of bucks a term on a book that you can sell back for a tenth of its value. So here's one for free. So you can sell it back for 100% of its value because you're not buying it. Yay! That's good statistics. So anyway, here's your textbook. It operates the same as any other textbook. It's got pages, it's got problems, it's got text, it's got reading, but it's free. and it's there for you. If you want a copy, you can print it yourself if you want. If you want to take the Kinko's and print 700 pages, whatever. But we're not going to use the entire text in this course, so that seems kind of silly. So I would say just keep it saved on your computer, keep it saved at home. If you want to print the pages we're using, that's cool, I guess. You can do that if you want to. I'm not going to make you print them or turn anything in like that. But it's there, and there's a lot. These ladies did a phenomenal job with this book. There are tons and tons of practice problems in there. I've only scratched the surface, and I'll show you as far as what homework looks like. I've only scratched the surface of what they have available in the book. Feel free to do more. They've been very generous with solutions that have been worked. I'll show you. Let's just scroll down here real quick and find a section. Let's see, let's just get into it. Let's see, there we go. Here's the very, very beginning. Dot plots, probability. Let's see, this is all the textbook part. Sampling. Very, very thorough. Eventually you get the, here we go. Oh, no. Variation. Hang on. Summary, we're getting close. 111, practice. Here we go, practice. And as you start scrolling down through these, you'll start seeing solution on page 49. Solution on page 49. Solution on page 49. What I'm going to do slowly over this term every Friday is get the camera, set it in my office, and record video solutions to the other ones that don't have solutions to them. So that way you're going to have a solution for every single problem, whether on YouTube or in the book. Does that make sense? It's going to take me a while. I'm going to try to stay up current with you guys, so I'm at least with you guys. I won't be ahead, but I'll be with you guys. So we'll have a nice series of solutions worked, linked off of those. Cool? Make sense? Good. So that's open source. It's a beautiful thing as far as education goes. The trick with any open source is what? What's the trick? Wikipedia catches this criticism all the time.
Anybody can edit it.
Says anybody can edit it. Really? Anybody can edit a Wikipedia page, or this. I mean, technically, I can download. There's a thing called there's a software they use where you can actually download it in Word form, edit it, and then re-upload it. So because of that, you have to be careful that the people that are editing it and re-uploading and giving you the stuff are it's valid. What they're doing is valid. Trust me. I'm not effing with this in a way that's going to mess you guys up. I'm going to keep it complete. I'm not changing their text at all. I think their text is great. I think it's fantastic. I'm just going to add to it as far as like their videos go and solutions go and things like that.
Does it really seem like someone would take the time to add that something?
It's not so much malicious. Like I found a bunch of errors in Wikipedia math sites, and I think it's just people think they know what they're talking about, and sometimes they don't. And I don't think it's malicious. I think it's just, and I'm using this word not negatively. It's just ignorance.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to solve this problem, and they give it a shot. But the problem is, as soon as you post that and it becomes part of Wikipedia, people don't realize that people are using that like sourcing for papers and stuff, and they're trusting it to be like a peer referee journal, and it is, but it's not at the same time. I think that's why Wikipedia catches the. Oh, no, it totally is. It can only get better as long as people that care start keep editing, and that's why I love this idea. So there's your textbook. Yay! Please, Lindsay.
Where do you find Danielle?
No, Danielle, Lindsay's here. Danielle.
Where do you find the videos on the text, on the open source?
I haven't linked them in there because I haven't made it yet. What I'm going to try to do, if I was telling Chris, I'm going to try to actually get in there and put the links in the document itself. If I can't, I'll figure out something else. I'll show you the homework sheet. I might just drop them in there. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try to get it into the actual book, though. That's my goal. But the problem with doing that, at least this term, would be I'd have to have you guys constantly resaving a document. And I really don't want to do that. So when we get to the homework sheet, I think you'll see where I'm going to put them, at least for this term. Cool? Good. Other questions? Very, very good ones. So there's your textbook, not in the bookstore. Yay. As far as the calculator and software go, I do have you guys using Excel out of class quite a bit in this course. I made you do that a lot in 243 too, much to your consternation. But I think you eventually grew at least partially fond of it, if not, that's kind of cool stuff. Maybe you hated it the entire time, I apologize. If you didn't, I'll make you do it again. Sorry, in advance for the next couple of weeks. But for in-class, since we're not in a computer lab, I am going to use Excel to run some simulations in here. I think that's fantastic, like I did in 243. But since we don't have access, each of us have access to a uniform kind of spreadsheet software, keep bringing your TIs for the time being. Keep bringing your TIs with you. Please, yes, go ahead.
Do you have any experience with Macintosh's iWorks, they have like a numbers one that's just
No.
like Excel?
No, but I guarantee at the base level it's the same. Where it starts getting goofy, this is what I remember from Macintosh and they actually have an Office for Mac
Yeah.
suite. Don't buy that.
Oh, I already
Use.
have it.
Oh, you already have it. Yeah, and
It's
you're
awful.
grimacing, which is
It's
yeah.
really bad.
That's what I've noticed is about 50% of it works exactly the same as, and then the other 50% works terribly. You have some options. The numbers. Is that OpenOffice or iWorks?
It's iWorks.
Because what's the OpenOffice? I thought that was called Number. Maybe that's called something else.
Well, it comes with 3. They have the Pages, which is supposed to be like Word,
And
and they have the PowerPoint, which I don't remember
Which
what
is
it's called.
Polaroid or something.
And then and then they have the Numbers, which is supposed to be like Excel.
Gotcha. I don't have any, but here's the thing. We can learn it together.
Okay.
So if you get stuck with something, email me, take a screenshot, email it to me. I can kind of work through. We can go on Google, find what we need to find. We can make it work.
Okay.
Please.
I tried using, I can make a Mac, I
Yes.
tried using that for 243.
Yes.
And
Nightmare.
when you're using simulations, if it gets more than maybe like 1,000, it takes about an hour
Oh
for
Lord.
it to load up every single time you press. Like,
Oh,
F9.
F9, my favorite
Yeah,
button.
but it wouldn't work for me.
But it wouldn't work.
It would
F9
not
is the greatest button on a PC. Apparently
It
not the
doesn't
greatest button on a Macintosh. If worse comes to worse, you can just forget that you use a Mac. I know this is awful to even say this, and just come in and spend 20 minutes in the computer lab and knock it out via the instructions that I got. I mean, I hate to say that because Macintoshes are superior. It's just that this particular, what I'm trying to make them do is pushing their limits of what they can do, I guess. So, but yeah, and I do start making you do stuff that's kind of outside the realm of like a normal spreadsheet. Like, oh, let's just average all these numbers. Like, it does that just fine.
Right.
But you start simulating hundreds of thousands of trials and it starts vomiting in your shoes.
Yeah.
So, you kind of want to avoid that if you can. So, in class, we use the TI as much as we can. I'll simulate using Excel. Outside of class, we'll use the TI as well on homework and stuff like that, but I'll also have you using Excel quite a bit. Because Excel is a great tool. I'll also have you going online and using applets and stuff like that, codes that are written embedded in your websites. Because that's a fantastic way of getting some stuff done. We'll also invent some of our own tests as we go through the course. Sometimes I had to test a few things last term. I'm like, no test exists. Let's make one up and call it the Jake test for my wife. You know what I mean? So we'll eventually get around to doing that kind of stuff in here, and software really, really helps us doing that kind of stuff. So, cool with technology? You guys all right? How's it feeling here? Temperature okay? You guys over here? How's it feeling? Decent? It feels cooler. Almost like it equalized itself. But it didn't preemptively open the windows and make it worse. Yes? Over there okay? Yeah? It was good back there. All right, we're happy. All right, good. So let's bump out of here. We got that taken care of. Let's jump into assessment, and this is where I really want my 243s from last time to kick in and give me information, like remind me, say something. If I'm not saying it right or if I can say it better, chime in, please. You guys are more than welcome to kick in. So as far as how I collect points from you guys, I mentioned homework in the textbook before. Let's go back and talk about that, because theoretically what usually happens in classes, we'll talk about something, some kind of a topic. And I've kind of got the course segmented up. I've tried to throw away as many topics as I can to keep the course have as few topics as possible. So rather than doing like 30 topics, all a third effort, I'd like to have 10 topics all at 100% effort. That kind of makes sense. So we can spend more time on one topic than less time on a bunch. So a mile deep and an inch wide versus the converse. So we get to and I try to segment the course to break at the end of those discrete topics. So let's say we've done, for example, the homework on, or we've done the course discussion of estimating a population proportion, which will be our first little chit chat as we go through, probably starting on Wednesday or Thursday. And I go, okay, for next time, bring in homework questions that you guys have on estimating a population proportion. Okay, so your job is to go home and look at those problems. Where do those problems live? They live here. I'll also link them in a number of other places. I'll link them for the first couple of weeks. I'll link them actually in the schedule page in the day so you can find them quickly that way. But I'm going to keep that homework sheet right here so you can find it whenever you need it. So you're going to click on that. You're going to click on estimating population proportion. Click. It's going to fire up. Boom. So now what you got right here is you've got the pages from the open source text. Pages, pages, pages. And then ba-boom, ba-boom. I've made little notes in there because it's open source. I can't get angry But every once in a while, textbook authors decide to use their own language. I do the same thing in 243. I use the word ish constantly. Ish. Ish. That word doesn't actually exist. Ish. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. So they use things like error bound. So I put little comments in there. Note what your text calls error bound. The rest of the world calls the margin of error. Things like that. So you'll go to these pages, and you'll knock out these problems. Here's some reading I've suggested. It's suggested, not required. If you need more, there's some reading. If you want to hear something different than the way I say it, or just the way I say it reiterated. Here are the actual problems. Only a few. These guys here, and then over there. Okay? And then down here, below those, I find other stuff out in the world as I'm kind of walking around exploring the world. It's amazing how statistics falls into your lap on a daily basis. Every day. So here's the E problems. They're not in your textbook. I didn't get a chance to actually put them into your textbook yet. Eventually they will be. They're just not yet. So they're down here. Okie doke. So your job is to give these problems a shot. Make sure you can do them. If you need homework solution help, remember the book has tons of problems worked. The ones that don't have the solutions, I'll be making the YouTube videos for and uploading them for you guys. And the E problems that are down here, the solutions are after the fact down here. You got the answers E1, E2, E3, and so forth. Okay? So your job, if we were to finish that lesson today and I say go home and try these problems, you come back on Wednesday and you go, Rule, everything was cool except E7. I can't figure out E7. Can we go over that? Yes, let's go over that first thing. Make sure everybody's understand it. Have you guys contribute if you want to. And then we're all squared away and we move on to the next discrete topic. That make sense? As far as homework goes, my former students want to chime in, or is that about right? Ish. Cool? Okay? Usually homework doesn't take an inordinate amount of time in class. Usually 20 minutes and we're done. 20 minutes to 30 minutes and we're done. Okay, what do you do with that homework once we've gone over it? Do you give it to me to take away from you? No. To give back to you with a number on it? No. You keep it. You keep your homework. You keep a running total. Keep it in the back of your book somewhere. Keep a notebook together with all your homework. That becomes your library. I take my homework policy from my old drum teacher. I've been playing the drums for 30 years. I took lessons for about 4 or 5 in the very, very beginning. What he would do every week, he would give me a bunch of stuff to practice. He'd write a bunch of stuff down. 10 Reed Syncopation. I remember that book very, very, very well. He'd send me home and I'd practice, lock myself in the basement. Play on Master Puppets. Practice. Easy top living there. Just having a good time. Then I'd go back the next week and he would open up what I was working on and he'd pick out random little things. Play this. And he basically made the assumption if I could play those few things, chances are I practiced everything, hence random sample. Population's probably okay. And we moved on. So here's my question. The analogy is that your homework questions are like all the stuff he wrote down for me to do when you go home and practice it. So when he went through and picked out random little pieces, how do I do that? That's what the quizzes are. Tell me your name, my friend. Michael, thank you. Yes, the quizzes are what is that random sample. So you'll notice in each week there is a quiz. There's a quiz here, there's a quiz here, there's a quiz down here. Each week it has at least one. Sometimes I do them in class, don't I? So I'm an SOB. Yes, sometimes I do them in class. Right? Are those good things or are they bad things?
They're good.
They're good things. Good. We'll come back to why they're good. Some people haven't ever had me before are like, why would more quizzes be a good thing? It sounds like hell. Why are more quizzes okay?
More quiz in your favor.
Yes. Here's the correlation. So first of all, let's talk about what a quiz is. A quiz is simply a little tiny snapshot of what you're working on. It's usually, how many questions on a quiz, friends? 10-ish. The first one, definitely. Usually the ones that come after that are less. 2 or 3 or 4 tops. They're 10 points a pop. The first quiz definitely has 10 questions on it, 1 point apiece, because it's a true-false quiz. True-false. The next one probably has 3 or 4, maybe 5 questions on it, 2 points a pop. One of them might have 4 points, 2, 3, 2, 3. They always add up to 10. Okay? And they are hyperlinked well in advance. So a quiz is not done in class. It's done before you get to class, and you've got at least a week to work on it. I think I'm going to post at least 1 quiz for next week, this afternoon or early tomorrow morning. So you'll have next Thursday's quiz, not 2 days from now, but 9 days from now. You'll have that quiz waiting for you as of tomorrow morning. So you have plenty of time to work on it. Who can you work on quizzes with? Say again? Anybody you want. Anybody. Tell me your name.